City of Seattle 2. Are you ready to go up? Okay, so we're going to go with City of Seattle position 2. With it, we have right now 2 candidates. There's actually 3 that have officially filed. Only these 2 here are qualified Democrats that speak with us tonight. So with that, we have for candidates, we have Ms. Tammy Morales and our incumbent current Seattle City Council member Bruce Harrell. So we'd like to welcome our candidates to the stage. So, same format as last time. We're going to, the candidates, of course, will start off with their 2 minutes, and then questions will be directed from Mr. David Fleetwood over here. Again, if you have any questions for the candidates, go ahead and direct them over to David, and David will be the person who will be answering the questions. So go ahead and start. Comments first, as tradition here. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bruce Harrell.
Challenges first. Thank you very much, grade 11. I first want to thank you for endorsing me in 2007, 11, and 13. And I've got to tell you, I worked hard to earn it, and I want to thank you because it sort of took me over the top. I think many of you know my politics. My politics are very simple. They're based on my values. My grandfather came here as an African-American man in the 1940s, and it was a union that brought him in and allowed him to bring his 3 sons and his wife here, my grandmother. My mother was, as a Japanese American, was interned by the government as Japanese were during World War II. And what I learned through those family experiences are my values. My values are fighting for people that if you give them the opportunity, all of your policies are designed to give them the opportunity, and they are empowered to take advantage of that opportunity, we can be great as a city, as a community, and as a country. I'm clearly the labor candidate as a former Teamsters and receiving the endorsement from Local 242 and many other organizations, the laborers. I hope to get the amalgamated transit 587 in a week. But I've been consistently overwhelmingly endorsed by the labor movement because if you look at what's happened in this country, you'll see a parallel between the erosion of the middle class, the erosion of the working class, and the erosion of our laborers. So I'm running for my 3rd term on the city council. And I got to tell you, I've never been as excited and as energized as possible as I look at that clock. I look forward to the questions. Again, I'm a lifelong Democrat, a lifelong labor leader. I believe in you, 11th. I believe in what you stand for, and I humbly ask that you believe in me. My name is Bruce Harrell, and I'm running for my re-election to my 3rd term. Thank you very much. Do you have time?
You got it. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Well, good evening. I'm Tammy Morales, and I am running for Seattle City Council in the new District 2. We need real leadership in the South End so that the folks in the South End can get a chance to share in the city's success. There's 3 things that I want to focus on. First, we can have communities that are thriving if we're going to protect renters and homeowners in the district. We've got rising rents that are really creating instability in our communities. So as a council member, I'm going to work to make sure that we are fighting the forces of displacement, and I'll work to make sure that the developers don't have an opportunity to run roughshod over our communities. Second, while it's true that we've had some great success with protecting workers in our community in the last few years, my opponent, Mr. Harrell, has actually come to those decisions kicking and screaming, dragging his feet on those issues. He called for more studies when it was time for paid sick leave. He watered down the minimum wage for young people and for young workers in our communities. And while many of us are working really hard to get special interests out of politics, he actually blocked consideration of campaign finance reform when it was in committee. So, that's not the kind of leadership that we need in this city or in this district. Finally, one of the real challenges that we have, and one place where Mr. Harrell has been absent, is in protecting our communities and our neighborhoods and in holding our police accountable. Crime is up 9% in the city, and while many business owners I've talked to have said they've contacted him over and over again looking for help, those calls go unanswered. That's not the kind of leadership we need either. And finally, we've got the Department of Justice has estimated that there have been at least 240 cases of excessive force in the city of Seattle in the last several years. Not one officer has been fired. Not one officer has been fired. And that's because Mr. Harrell has been the chair of public safety for the last 4 years and has worked really closely supporting the police union in letting them investigate their own, so I think it's time for new leadership. I ask for your support and I ask for your vote at the endorsement meeting. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I get my podium back, sir. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and have, so what we're going to do, we're going to go have question and answers. Also, Mr. Gidner also has our timer sitting right there. So David Fleetwood has our questions, and David will also let you know how much time you have in between questions. They'll be between 1 minute and 2 minutes. So we're going to go pass the mic. Ms. Morales will start off the question.
So you made some serious statements about what's been done in District 2 and what you would like to do. This question's from Emily. What would you do different explicitly in terms of what actions would you take different and what would you try and see different from what's occurred previously in this seat?
About any issue at all?
What issues what kind of change are you trying to bring in a specific actionable way?
Okay, so for starters, one of the things that we really need in the South End is a strong economic development strategy. We have a lot of promises that have been made in the community once light rail went in, and we really need to make sure that we have jobs that are created, that we're doing development down there in a responsible and equitable way, and that we're really attracting businesses and industry to create new jobs down there. Mr. Harrell has been in office for 8 years, and there's, I'm sure many of you can see, not a whole lot going on down there. So one of my priorities is to create some workforce development opportunities and make sure that as we're working with developers that we grow the district in a way that is equitable and just and creates vibrant commercial districts and creates true job opportunities. So I've been talking with some industry folks, maritime industry, with other manufacturing industries. One of my roles is in my day job, I have a consulting business doing food, so we're trying to create a food innovation district in the South End so that people have access to small business development assistance, to workforce development assistance in commercial kitchens and food-related businesses. It's work that I'm doing right over in SeaTac. The Rainier Beach community has asked me to join them in doing a similar thing there. So I think there are a lot of opportunities, and we need to be innovative and creative in thinking about how we're going to attract industry to the area to create jobs and how we're going to create a real economic development strategy there. And I think that our Office of Economic Development should be pushed much harder to participate in those conversations because they are always absent when there are planning-related, neighborhood-related conversations going on. It's housing and it's transportation, but OED is never there and they have a crucial role to play. So that's one of the things I would do is push them on that.
Okay. Next question would be for Bruce. Given what's been pointed out here, how do you respond to that? What would your policies to address the issues outlined, or do you feel those issues are not necessarily a premise you agree with?
Well, unfortunately, I think Ms. Morales clearly demonstrated why she's not fit to lead District 2. She's fairly new to the district. I think she's lived there for a couple of years. I've been there all my life. And what we don't do is start denigrating what we've been trying to do all of our lives. Don't take my word for it. Take Dave Freibo, the head of the King County Labor, who referred to me as the unsung hero on the minimum wage legislation. There was nothing kicking and screaming. Actually, what we were doing are investing more into it. One of my concerns about the minimum wage legislation is we're the first city to prove to the country that you can address any income inequality through hard policy. And let's talk about continuing to remove the impediments to success, because we could bring basically billions of dollars of revenue back into society from these lower income wages. But let's also look at tuition assistance, making sure they have medical, dental, make sure we have mentoring programs, making sure that the impediments to their success are removed. I also created a commission to make sure that the work doesn't stop with what we passed, the work continues Just the other day, we had a report from the University of Washington to do a deeper dive to make sure we are doing the right things and we can improve it. So many of us were champions. I was one of 3 council members who actually were the architects of this minimum wage legislation. Crime is not up 90%. That is an incorrect fact, and I don't know where you are referring to that.
9%.
Oh, 9. I thought you said 90%. In fact, crime is not up even 9%. But the point being is that look at what we've done in the police department as an example. We have a woman. I passed a law that had been on the books for 35 years, allowing her to hire whoever she wants. As a result, the police department actually filed a grievance against us for the law that I passed. It was a 35-year change. You change the culture by changing the people. What District 2 needs is this kind of inspirational leadership, not this negativity that we seem to unfortunately see this evening.
Okay, this question is going to be for both candidates. It was asked previously by Toshiko. Can you please speak to the state of police-community relationships, the upcoming implementation of body cameras, and how they will support police accountability?
Should I go first?
Yes, sir.
So the relation between the community and the police department can be incredibly improved. Now, how do you do that? In my conversations with SPOG and Ron Smith, its head, I said that when you see Walter Scott, and everyone should know his name, he was the man who was shot in the back down in South Carolina. When you see Eric Garner, these kind of folks, you have to control the narrative and speak out. That was murder, that was wrong. You may recall when John Williams was murdered as a Native American person in our community, I was the only council member to speak out. And so what I need to build trust is for the silence. The silence is deafening from the police department. They have to get involved, actively involved. Most of our officers are very fine human beings trying to do their job. They are not all bad, and we shouldn't believe they all are bad. But they have to be in there with us. I tell officers, when you're at an event, don't sit on the wall with your arms crossed and mean mug them. Go out and talk to people. Let them know you are human beings. On body cameras, in 2010, I was the first one to start going to legislative districts promoting the use of body cameras. Everyone laughed at me. I said, Councilmember Harrell, what are you talking about? It took years for people to realize that I was in front of this issue. I also, as a civil rights chair, my colleagues have trusted me for 8 years to be the civil rights chair. I declared Seattle to be a human rights city, and I declared privacy to be a human right. We'll put on a forum tomorrow on our privacy rights. So as we move forward with body camera technology to protect everyone, to protect someone in a back alley as an example, we'll make sure that people's privacy rights are restored, because I claim it as a human right. So we have to aggressively make sure we use technology in every process possible to promote accountability and achieve it. And on the same hand, we have to make sure our officers build community trust. Trust just doesn't develop organically. You have to work for it. You have to earn it. I've earned the trust of my Democratic Party. I've been a Democrat since I was 18. You earn it, and that's what I try to tell our police officers moving forward.
So the state of our police relations is pretty dismal. I think, with all of the civil unrest over the country in the last several months, I think it's been an opportunity for us to really look deep into what kind of a police department we want to have. The fact of the matter is, as Brianna said earlier, many people in our community, particularly people of color, simply don't trust the police. Now, there are things we can do to change that, and I think we're starting down that path. But the fact of the matter is that, people, particularly in our district, feel victimized by crime, and many of them feel victimized by the police. And whether or not they've experienced something personally, they may know somebody who has, or they've seen it on TV, and so that does breed a level of mistrust and a level of fear in the community. So there's a lot that we can be doing to address that, and I do think that Chief O'Toole is starting down the right path. That said, I think one of the things we need to do is to get police out of their cars. We really need to have an opportunity for people in our community, particularly young people, to start building relationships with the police so that the first time they meet a police officer, it isn't in an emergency situation. And my vision is that we have a good enough relationship that the community and the police trust one another enough that, a young person on the street who feels unsafe feels okay going to the police officer looking for help, and right now that's just not the case. So there's work to do, and I think we need to be supporting better relationships with the community and the police officers, and creating opportunity for them to meet one another in a situation before it's a critical situation. With regard to the body cam, I think it's a technological solution to what is a cultural problem. We will see what happens, but the fact is that we have video of police, using excessive force right now, and as I said before, nothing happens. So I'm not sure how that's going to help the community.
Final question we have here. The $15 minimum wage is a good start. I asked the previous questions this, or previous candidates this. What would you do beyond this point to continue to increase the standard of living in Seattle, and especially getting everyone to a living wage?
Well, that's a good question. As we know, $15 an hour is great. It's going to take a long time to get there. For some of our businesses, not for another 7 years before workers will be making that wage. So nevertheless, I think it was a really strong start. I think it was, positioned Seattle as an innovator and as a leader in really starting to address these tough equity issues. So that said, the $15 an hour wage is really kind of targeted at service workers. And I think if we're really going to start to see changes in our economy, we need to start creating jobs that that create real pathways for people, that create real career opportunities. The economy is booming for some people. There's lots of folks in the community who have stable jobs, who have access to great health care and other benefits, who have high-paying salaries, but that is not the case for a lot of people in the city. And so what we need to do is find ways, as I was saying before, to grow local businesses, to help find local suppliers for some of our major manufacturers so that we can increase employment, we can increase opportunity for good paying jobs, for union jobs, for jobs that are going to be protected and that offer our workers stable employment and real pathways to success. So I think aside from creating better living wage jobs for people, so the other part of that is that people can afford to stay in the city. We've got skyrocketing housing costs, and those two things are connected. If we can't create livable wage jobs and stable employment for people, then they will never be able to stay in the city. So we have to create a kind of an ecosystem where people are well protected, where workers are protected, and where housing is available. That Lisa was saying earlier, we need to preserve the existing affordable housing, and we need to create more. So I think there are many things we can do to create a vibrant economy, but it starts with moving beyond just creating minimum, the 15 hour for service workers. It means creating more jobs that create a stronger economy and stronger pathways for people.
Great. I didn't get a chance to ask a question.
Oh, that was
That's the last question. I think the question was, what else beyond income inequality? I didn't hear any specifics at all of that response. My response is very simple. First, we established the Department of Labor standards to make sure we enforce it. You may recall that we passed a law making sure wage theft was a crime now, gross misdemeanor, so we make sure we have the tools to enforce it, number one. Number two, we look at other types of policies such as tuition assistance, anything we can do to continue to make sure low-wage workers has a pathway to success. And there's one thing I'm passionate about. I came from a low-wage background, is making sure we have that pathway to success. Number three, mentoring. It is critical for people to see. I'm a lawyer by training. There were no lawyers in my family. My mother and father did not go to college, but I had mentors in my life. We're now investing in mentoring programs through the Breakfast Group, as an example, through Career Bridge. This is under my leadership. So we will invest strongly in mentoring. Banning the box. I was the architect behind banning the box because we realized people are asked right out the gate, have you ever committed a crime? We know that's disproportionately affects certain communities, and that is bad policy. I only had 1 or 2 votes when I started. I got 9 votes, and so we will continue to look at the disparate impact on people of color, on underrepresented people, to make sure that our policies, again, open up the door to success. We have to, in District 2, we have to have a serious investment strategy. Most of our jobs will be in the technology and biotech fields, but we still have artists, plumbers, maritime industries, so we have to make sure, again, that pathway starts with our preschoolers. Give them the right training. That universal pre-K was cutting-edge stuff we're doing, looking at brain development when kids are 3 to 4, all the way up to seniors who are on fixed income. Our policies have to be designed to protect those that are underrepresented. I did that as a lawyer. I've been doing that as a city council. I have to put up with the likes of this kind of criticism, but it doesn't stop me. I wake up early in the morning to fight for you, and I will continue to do that on my 3rd term on the city council.
Thank you.
All right, let's say thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please give our candidates for position 2 a hand. Thank you so much for your leadership.